We are a few more days away from SpaceX's Starship Flight 9, but SpaceX still seems to have problems. Here's the very latest info. When can we expect the launch? SpaceX's Roberts Road Starship facility in Florida is keeping pace with Starbase's growth, and they are working hard on their own orbital Starship launch mount for Florida. And Voyager 1 is still sending us signals, but how far away exactly is it now? My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Starship updates. We are so close now and I can almost taste it. Flight 9 is just days away. Have we ever had this much tension in the community in the build-up to any flight? There were some hectic moments back in the day during the suborbital campaign, especially after SN11 disappeared into the fog over Starbase. Anyone still around from that? We asked you and ran a poll in the channel community section about Flight 9, and the results are very optimistic. 5,800 votes as of recording this episode, that is representative. 67% of you think the flight will go all the way to a planned splashdown of Ship 35 in the ocean. Only 18% think it will have an early RUD or something will go wrong, similar to Flights 7 and 8. That is the optimism I like to see. Now, we all know that the FAA has approved license modifications for SpaceX's Flight 9 mission and granted permission to increase Starship launches in Starbase from 5 to 25 per year, but there is a catch. Flight 9 can't launch until the FAA either closes the Flight 8 mishap investigation or gives a formal return to flight approval. SpaceX submitted its mishap report on May 14th and the FAA is now reviewing it. And they also expanded the air and sea safety zones for Flight 9, partly because SpaceX plans to reuse a previously flown Super Heavy booster for the first time, and partly to account for changes in flight safety procedures. New NOTAMs and marine hazard warnings now extend through the end of May and into early June. We've gotten used to tracking visible milestones, rockets stacked, pads built, engines tested. And yet, we still have procedural holdups to mix in as well. There's no fixed timeline for this kind of review, and that means we could see Starship hardware looking flight ready while the final clearance is still pending. It's a reminder that Starbase isn't just a launch site. It's part of a system that also runs through regulatory agencies. No matter how fast things move on the ground, even if a full stacked Starship with the chopsticks raised and open is on the launch pad, the final say still comes from the FAA. While we are right on the precipice of the test flight, we're not quite there yet. Adding to the uncertainty heading into the weekend was the rollback of Booster 14-2 to the launch site for further checkouts after being set up on the launch pad. No reasons were named, but there seems to be something wrong with the booster. Updated marine hazard alerts also indicated a flight would be no earlier than May 26th. But with SpaceX unable to close beaches on Memorial Day, that means the earliest launch date is actually May 27th. During this time, Ship 35 still remained in the depths of Mega Bay 2, undergoing final checkouts before its own rollout after its latest static fire campaign. Is everything okay in there? There are rumors of engine replacements floating around. SpaceX might go for yet another static fire with Ship 35 if that's true. They have a lot to prove with Flight 9 and it involves more than the ship simply not blowing up. SpaceX needs a flight profile to attempt a ship catch, which is arguably one of the bigger hurdles remaining to a fully operational and fully reusable Starship. The team needs data to parse and analyze to attempt new maneuvers and check other boxes off the list of things Starship needs to do. There is some data from before Flight 7, but SpaceX planned to have 1 or 2 more nominal re-entries before going for a catch. And then there is payload delivery. That's maybe the most important goal right now. On top of that, this is all taking place under the heightened pressure of getting a Mars plan up and running. Elon Musk mentioned the other day that before Flight 9 goes up, he'll be giving an update on the company's Mars plan going forward. There is debate about which Mars window is feasible for SpaceX to hit, given how far Starship has to go in testing and development. However, the fact that the company is still pressing forward shows they believe it's doable. I do too, we just need a working ship to move forward. Internally, the company continues to reference Mars as the long-term goal behind Starship development. The timeline has shifted in the past, but Mars remains a constant in the program's messaging. At this point, as our community poll shows, we are all ready for Flight 9 to get off the pad, and we are hoping for a better result downrange. But I think we are also very eager to see what Block 3 can do and when it will do it. Block 3 represents the next major Starship evolution. While Block 2 introduced new structures and avionics, Block 3 will focus on more, including much taller ships, bigger fuel tanks, and ultimately full Raptor 3 integration. We've already seen early signs at the production site: new tile systems, modified heat shield layouts, and a shift toward metal tiles like on TT-17. Ship 39 and Ship 40 are believed to be early Block 3 variants. And different tiles aren't just new tech, they are potentially the missing puzzle piece for rapid Starship reuse without burning through oven-baked TPS tiles. There's definitely hope that Block 3 can do a lot better than Block 2 in most areas. SpaceX will find out soon enough, as will we. Despite the delays, progress has never slowed down at Starbase, even for a little bit. The freshly moved orbital launch mount is perched high atop its resting place over the flame diverter on 4 massive pedestals. The lift to get it there was no joke, with 2 of SpaceX's biggest crawler cranes carefully having to edge closer to the flame trench. They then swung it over the landing spot before placing it, very slowly. A close look under the OLM shows what appears to be intense welding going on to keep the behemoth in place. It was speculated that the launch mount would be bolted into place, but SpaceX is showing its own way of doing things as usual. This almost rules out a scenario where the Pad B OLM is quickly replaceable for refurbishment. Also, Pad B's chopsticks underwent some interesting testing over the weekend. SpaceX first attached 2, then 4 huge water bags via cables and let the chopsticks experiment with lifting them. These are called fluid weights and are commonly used to test cranes and offshore oil rig systems for their structural integrity. Those 4 bags likely weigh around 300 tons combined. The advantage is simple: you can just hang them on whatever you want to test, pump water in, let it sit there, and then empty them again. The dry weight is just a few hundred kilos, making ground handling easier than concrete or metal weights. Way easier. This isn't the first time they did this either. Pad A was tested the same way. SpaceX's way of using already available options to do a job drives down costs and speeds up development. No special space-rated handcrafted rocket tower test weights from JPL. No taxpayer money wasted. Just stuff that already exists. There is never a lost moment on the pad. Hardware is always being tested in new and interesting ways. Never change, SpaceX. Are you someone who loves creating? Maybe you're crafting unique items, designing eye-catching prints, or just dreaming of turning your idea into something real. Well, that's exactly how we started. The smooth shopping experience in your favorite Space Nerd store is brought to you by today's sponsor, Shopify. So what is Shopify and what can it do for you? Shopify is a platform built for creators, dreamers, and entrepreneurs, whether you're just starting a side hustle or already running a full-blown business. It gives you powerful tools to build, run, and grow your shop without needing a tech degree. Setting up our Y-Print store was a simple and straightforward process. First, I was genuinely worried about how all of this might work. After starting to set up the shop, I lost all worries as everything is so straightforward and their many years of experience really show. Everything is super easy to connect and link. Shopify knows what we need. And the live view, it's addictive. You get to see where your customers are coming from and how they shop in real time. It is honestly thrilling. If you've been sitting on an idea, now's the time. Start your side hustle or dive into full-time entrepreneurship. Shopify is there to make your journey easier. Start your trial right now by going to shopify.com/whataboutit. As always, as SpaceX ramps up production of Starship prototypes, it needs bigger facilities to both churn them out of and to store them prior to their test flight campaigns. The Roberts Road facility in Florida is changing rapidly and adding exactly this kind of infrastructure. We've been presented with an interesting perspective here, courtesy of Umbra's space satellite imagery. This shot of Roberts Road reveals 2 critical things. We can see the foundations of the forthcoming Gigabay already being laid, and what appears to be the orbital launch mount being worked on in a tent. Roberts Road isn't playing catch up anymore, it is racing neck and neck. We've detailed before how the new Starship launchpad in Florida closely mimics the design of Starbase's Pad B. We've seen this in high res before. Max Evans from NSF sniped this shot from a helicopter above Roberts Road. Comparing it to the Pad B OLM images we have from RGV shows how close the plan in Florida is to the one at Starbase. The OLM at Starbase was in this construction stage in late November of last year. If the Florida team moves at about the same speed, we can expect this thing to roll out to Pad 39A around October this year. It won't be long before Roberts Road is as bustling of a Starship hub as Starbase, and these two updates prove that they are not far behind. This means that the road to Starship launches in Florida by the end of this year or early 2026 is straight and well paved. Here's to seeing everything move faster and faster. One of the more exciting things not named Starship that SpaceX has under development right now is Raptor 3. Seriously, can we just appreciate the pure streamlined elegance of this engine for a second? Raptor 3 is undeniably very important to SpaceX and Starship's future. And recent sightings in McGregor show SN20 heading to the South test stand. Raptor 3 is the spearhead of SpaceX engine development so far, and it is what Block 3 Starships and Block 3 Super Heavy boosters will ultimately run on. Over the years, we've seen hundreds of Raptor 2s produced, and hopefully we'll see many Raptor 3s in the next year or so as well. It surpasses the efficiency of any previous Raptor variant and is better optimized for thrust, cooling, and manufacturing speed than Raptor 2. Who can forget the skepticism of Tory Bruno upon initially viewing the first images of it? There is no way a completed rocket engine can look that smooth and possess all the necessary wiring and outlets, right? Each iteration and test of Raptor 3 at McGregor brings SpaceX one engine closer to the final design. And they'll need quite a lot of engines to test with as Block 3 campaigns start to ramp up at Starbase. The most significant visible change is the cleaner exterior. Raptor 3 routes most of its plumbing internally, giving it a far more compact profile than Raptor 2. Under the hood, the improvements matter even more. Raptor 3 delivers more thrust, better efficiency, and cooler components with less wear, even though combustion temperature is likely increasing. More pressure in the chamber equals higher temperatures. Active cooling counters it though. That reduces stress on the chamber walls and helps with reusability. And the entire engine was redesigned with production speed in mind. This is yet another glimpse into the future of Starship that gets closer every day. Each Raptor 3 produced and tested is another step closer to a fully operational program. I did a long and very technical deep dive into the Raptor 3 engine. A link to it is at the end of this video. Before we get into some awesome long-distance updates from the Voyager probes, let me say that creating a Heuer episode is a team effort. Even if you don't know it yet, you are very much a part of this team and can help me out easily. Our channel metrics show over 4 million returning monthly viewers who have not subscribed yet. Help improve the channel and double check that you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our updates. Like this video if you appreciate the content and become a Heuer supporter for extra content. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, aerial and ground photos and 3D animations. Chat with me and gain more insights on the topics you love. The entire team is waiting for you. You rock! From the most cutting-edge engine currently under development to one of the oldest spacecraft in existence. While we are building things people couldn't have imagined 50 years ago, a signal has recently returned from the solar system's edge, and it is riding on hardware no one expected ever to work again. NASA just pulled off something remarkable. After nearly 40 years, engineers successfully reactivated a set of backup thrusters on Voyager 1, humanity's most distant spacecraft. These thrusters hadn't fired for decades and were widely considered dead. But now, against all odds, they are working again. It launched in 1977 and is currently more than 15 billion miles from Earth. Billion. It's been using small attitude control thrusters for years to keep its antenna pointed back at us. But in November 2023, the spacecraft stopped sending usable data, and the team suspected the fault might lie with its primary control system. So they turned to an old backup. They constructed a new command and fired it into space for Voyager 1 to receive. Sending that command took over 20 hours and another 20 to hear back, but it worked. The thrusters responded, Voyager 1 adjusted its orientation, and for the first time in months, Earth got a readable signal back. No way! This is a lesson in deep space problem solving and a reminder of how long these missions can last. Voyager 1 is now stable again and able to stay pointed toward Earth. That's essential if the mission is to continue collecting data from interstellar space. We are firing thrusters outside our solar system. Unbelievable. Some still ponder whether the moon landings actually happened. We are way past that. The commands were written in ancient code formats, crafted for a spacecraft launched almost 50 years ago. There is no interface, no automation, just raw instructions sent across 15 billion miles and met with a whisper of life from a machine that was never meant to last this long. Voyager 1 is now 168 astronomical units away from us. That is 168 times the distance between Earth and the Sun. 15 billion miles away, Voyager 1 is still listening for our calls. Voyager's science instruments are still limited for now and full recovery may take time. But the fact that the thrusters are firing again means the story isn't over. The most distant human-made object is still surprising and fascinating us. Want to do it like Voyager and see things from a wider angle? Check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographer Jordan gets on his Starbase flights. Give it a try. And here is a special shout out to our operation partners at Starbase, Raptor Roost. Flight 9 is approaching and there is only one spot that is closest to the action. Raptor Roost. Go to raptor-roost.com and book your spot to watch a Starship launch in person with the greatest community there is at Starbase. That's raptor-roost.com. Book your tickets now. Relativity Space is back with another update and their Terran R program is hitting new milestones fast. In March and April alone, the team completed nearly 30 critical design reviews across key components, pushing the rocket's design closer to completion. The second stage vacuum engine is progressing with major sub-assemblies now being released for manufacturing. On the first stage, the initial fuel barrel was welded, inspected, and moved into mechanical assembly. Domes are arriving and getting their first fasteners, while COPVs or composite overwrap pressure vessels are being welded and prepped for integration. Yes! Stage 2 hardware is advancing quickly too. The team completed the first manifold welds and achieved their first friction star weld on flight hardware, joining the common dome to the LOX barrel. That is a huge step for tank fabrication. Engine qualification is also picking up pace. The main combustion chamber is complete and the injector assembly has passed testing. And a prior development engine is being converted into a second stage vacuum engine with nozzle hardware now in production. Wow! Inside the Long Beach factory, new CNC machines and metal printers are coming online. The propulsion campaign is nearing completion and the final development engines are arriving at NASA Stennis for hot fire testing. Meanwhile, conversion of the historic A2 stand is underway with fluid equipment arriving now. Avionics and software teams hit orbit and hardware out of the loop simulations using full-scale systems. Structural teams are also preparing for major load tests as new stands come online. And at Cape Canaveral, the horizontal integration facility at LC-16 is now going vertical. Steel columns are up and pad work is accelerating. Relativity is hitting nearly every front at once, including engines, tanks, avionics and integration, all pushing toward a first flight that looks more real every month. The maiden flight of Terran R is slated for 2026. NASA's Artemis 2 mission is coming together quickly. After initial delays due to heat shield concerns from Artemis 1, the mission has been moved up to no earlier than February 2026 for launch. The crew went through egress training at Launch Complex 39B, and we've also seen stacking and integration progress on the launch vehicle in recent weeks. Inside the vehicle assembly building at Kennedy Space Center, teams have successfully stacked the upper stage of the SLS rocket onto the rest of the launch vehicle. This stage, called the Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, or ICPS, will provide the final push that sends Orion toward the moon once the vehicle reaches orbit. That means the core stage, twin solid rocket boosters, and upper stage are now fully assembled on Mobile Launcher 1. It's the tallest rocket NASA has built since the Saturn V, and it is finally starting to look ready. Again, next comes integrated testing. All the systems need to communicate perfectly with each other, from flight computers on board the rocket to ground control consoles inside the Launch Control Center. The teams will run checkouts, simulate countdowns, and verify every interface before Orion is added to the stack. Speaking of Orion, the spacecraft was transported from the Armstrong Operations and Checkout building just a few days ago to its fueling facility. It's a significant milestone considering earlier heat shield concerns of Orion initially caused the second mission to be delayed. Every one of these steps gets us closer to seeing the complete Artemis 2 vehicle on the pad. And when it is fully stacked, it won't just be a rocket. It'll be the ride that returns astronauts to lunar orbit. Artemis 2 isn't just a milestone, it's a full test of a crewed deep space vehicle. That doesn't happen too often. That's it for today. Before watching the bloopers, remember to smash the like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A new Raptor design and our Flight 9 shirt are both up. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also, check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. A significant amount of every purchase goes directly to our photographer Jordan. And as mentioned earlier, if you want to learn about SpaceX's Raptor engine and how it is completely revolutionizing spaceflight, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. They then swung it over the lot. No, no, that's not how it went. Mope in the shamer. I can almost taste it. Nice.